Hello, hello. I feel like I say this at the start of every video, but we have a lot to go over today because we are talking about money. No, we are not really going into house prices and what the market is looking like on that aspect, but I wanted to give you the everyday, just in and out expenses so you can have something to compare. This could be for anybody starting their home search in the Villages, Florida, or the all-age community of Middleton by the Villages, which is where I live. Hey everyone, my name is Kaitlyn and I'm a realtor with LPT Realty, and this is Visit the Villages, Florida. I'm going to compare my monthly cost of living to what is given to us for both the Villages and Middleton on their little expectation list. So my situation, I am in a house that's about 1,500-ish square feet. I'm the only person that lives here, not counting my lovely dogs, of course. So for a normal dual occupancy household, your bills are probably going to be slightly higher, or you might expect even more if you're in Middleton with multiple children when it comes to things like water, electric, things like that. So let's see how things are going to add up. My electricity is processed through Seco in Middleton. There are so many variables for utilities, but throughout the year, I average about $100 per month. I'm going to break it down a little bit further to say about 65 to 80 for November to February, 90 to 110 March to May, 120 to 140 June, July, August, and then back to 90 to 110 September and October. People make fun of me all the time and say that I live like a lizard because I do have my house set to stay between 68 and 77 degrees year round. As long as my house stays within that range, the only thing that the thermostat and HVAC, all of that is really regulating is going to be the humidity levels. I really don't touch it throughout the year because in my mind, as long as the house is cooler than what it feels like outside in the middle of the summer, then I'm happy. And I do like to have my lanai open and windows open when I'm home and it feels good outside. So that's why I try not to do all that much with the HVAC. I know that I'm probably not in the majority here, and most people will have their houses set a little bit lower, so their bills will probably be higher than mine. Gas. I have Leesburg gas, and it usually falls between $30 to $40 per month throughout the year, so we're just going to average that at $35 monthly. My water heater, furnace, and stove are gas. Next up, we have water, irrigation, sewer, and trash that is processed through the Villages Community Development District. Right now, I'm looking at about $150 on average per month throughout the year. That is broken down into about $60 for irrigation, $25 for house water, and $40 for sewer, then $25 for trash. Trash gets picked up twice a week, and you just put the bags or broken down boxes at the end of your driveway the night before, so we don't have proper trash bins that get rolled down weekly. Anyway, with my water bill, the breakdown is usually about 1,500 gallons for inside water per month, and that's going to be shower, dishes, etc. And then the irrigation runs me about $8,000 to $10,000 or 10,000 gallons per month, and it does get adjusted throughout the year if we are in summer or winter. On your bill, there will be irrigation base, water base, and sewer base. So if you look at it, it may seem like you're getting charged twice for each category, but there is the base and the actual as separate line items. In my case, the base charge of water is more than my actual usage, which is kind of frustrating. Irrigation should be going the entire year, regardless if you are here or not, to keep the grass alive. We basically live in a desert, so it needs to be watered. If you're in the Villages, you will also have the amenity fee that will show up on this bill, and that's the one that you pay per month. And right now, the amenity fee is $199 for new homeowners, and that is charged for the whole household at dual occupancy. So even if you are single, the amenity fee that you are getting charged is still $199. So moving right along, we have internet. I currently pay Centric $43 per month. Centric was the company that was wired for my house when I bought it through the Villages, and honestly, they just had good pricing and it was already set up, so I didn't feel the need to change it. There is a higher version that people can pay for in this neighborhood, especially the ones that I know of. And if they want streaming or if they have larger households that may need more power, And I think that one's running like $75 per month. So it's still pretty affordable in my mind. Homeowners insurance. I currently pay about $1,200 annually or about $100 per month. You can get additional riders like flood, sinkhole, and elevated hurricane protections. But just shop around. I don't need to tell you that Florida insurance is a hot topic for a lot of people. But with where we live in Central Florida, the premiums are much more favorable than obviously some of our friends that are living on the coastline. And those are the ones that you see in the news headlines all the time. So it's not really real life for us. Now, the least fun part is taxes. So taxes are broken down into two categories, ad valorem and non-ad valorem. Ad valorem taxes are based off of the assessed value of your home minus any exemptions that you may have, like homestead. If Florida is your primary residence for 6 months plus 1 day, then you can apply for this exemption, which is a $50,000 reduction in your taxable value. So the ad valorem portion of my taxes was $2,564, which includes Sumter County School Board, City of Wildwood, the Southwest Florida Water Management District, and the Village's Fire District. I do have full homestead exemption and a veteran exemption on my bill. Non-ad valorem taxes. These are a bit more specific to like the Village's area because that's where we're going to see the bond, maintenance, and fire show up. I'm going to explain all of this in a second, but the portion that I pay on my non-ad valorem taxes is $4,543, which brings my annual tax bill to just about $7,100. If we were to break that down monthly, it's about $600 per month that I would have to pay to allocate for my taxes. The bond balance on my house when I purchased it was $32,000, and since my house is still basically brand new, the remaining balance is $31,000. Also, remember that there is interest paid on the bond. On my tax bill, I paid $2,500 towards the bond portion alone, but the balance only went down less than $1,000. Over time, the interest and principal will flip-flop, but because I'm still at the beginning portion of my bond loan, I'm paying a lot more towards interest alone. You can opt to pay the whole bond balance off upfront, but you will kind of have to calculate what that break-even point is for you and how many years you will have to stay in the house to make that worth it. The bond does get transferred over with the new owners, so paying off the bond in full is not going to increase your home's value, but it will open the buyer pool to more buyers and more people that may be interested in your home because not having that bond payment portion may allow their budget to stretch a little bit more. Anyway, so something different with Middleton versus the rest of the villages. We do not have an amenity fee that we pay into per month, but we do have the maintenance and bond portion, and our maintenance segment is significantly higher than other areas of the villages. If I look at my maintenance portion that I paid on my taxes, it was $1,719 per year. And then if we look at the villages and other bond debts that were also around that $31,000, $32,000 bond that were created in 2022, their maintenance portion is only about $660. So villagers pay their amenity fee per month to the utility department, which again is currently about like $199 per month. But the average Middleton resident pays about an additional $100 per month on their maintenance portion. And we don't have access to village amenities, but we do have our pools, playgrounds, courts, all of that. This is not complaining. I'm just making observations so you can look at it for your bill. So all these numbers that I've gone over is what's provided on the estimate sheet for both Middleton and the villages proper. And their breakdowns can be found on their websites. So what I did is I put it all together in one spot to look at how they compare and see if it was accurate or not. I'm going to go ahead and put the graphic up here in a second, so we'll be able to compare and look through it. On the left-hand side, we have all of the costs. Middleton is the first column, the villages is the second, and all of my actual charges are on the right-hand side. I'm not going to go through this line item by line item because you guys can read it all, but here it is. Feel free to pause the video so you can take a look for a little bit longer at all the charges. Guys, please remember that these are averages per month and they will fluctuate. And again, if you have a mortgage on your home, the homeowner's insurance and both the ad valorem and non-ad valorem taxes will be paid through your escrow account. So in my case, the monthly expenses that I would expect to pay would be about $328 per month in utilities alone. And again, this is for one person in a 1,500-ish square foot house in Middleton. I actually think that the estimator was pretty close for one person, but that's not how most homes operate. If I were to make adjustments to the estimator, I would definitely go up on electric, irrigation, homeowners insurance, and taxes. So just for fun, I probably spend about $350 to $400 per month in groceries for me and the dogs. That doesn't include going out to eat, but I really don't do that all that often. I try to avoid shopping at Publix, even though they're everywhere, because they are the most expensive. I will say that they have some really good buy one, get one deals, so you can maximize your budget by shopping those exclusively. I found some of the best deals for grocery shopping through Kroger Delivery and Aldi. They work really well for me, and the Kroger delivery gets dropped off right at your house. So, you don't need to go and spend extra time out and about. You can feel super successful of just doing it on your computer and then they show up. Usually my last minute items or produce come from Publix, so I can see, feel, touch for whatever I'm using it for. Also, since we have a lot of people moving from areas like the Northeast, I will say that for most of 2025 so far, our gas prices are around $3.10 per gallon for unleaded gas. We would get the pockets that go down to $2.85 and surges closer to $3.25, but pretty regularly, I think $3.10 is a pretty fair assessment. So those are some of the general costs for your month-to-month breakdown. But what about some of the things that may be a little bit more specific to just the Villages area or when you come to retire? Some extras that you may need to allocate in your budget is going to be lawn care. This is going to be your mowing and regular upkeep. Most lawns are going to run between $50 to $80 per month, depending on how big the yard is, if there are shrubs and trees to maintain, or if there are a lot of things to maneuver like hardscapes. Pest treatment and yard maintenance, things like termite, ants, spiders, and then fertilizer, really just the overall lawn health, can be an additional $80 to $100 per month. Sometimes they run specials through the same companies. Now, executive golf is included with your monthly amenity fee, and you can walk the course without paying for a trail fee. If you want to bring your golf cart or ride with somebody on a golf cart, you then have to pay the trail fee. Trail fees are currently $140 per year, $105 for 6 months, or $21 per month. You can also pay per outing, which is $4 a person. So if you're just getting into golf, you can start by paying per outing. Of course, the longer terms you have, the less the break-even point is. For the $140 per year, you would need to golf 35 times in that 12-month period, which is about 3 times a month. The 6-month membership has a break-even point at 26 times, which is about 4 times a month. Or if you're only here for that month and you're paying for the $21, the break-even point is 5 outings. Now, championship golf. These are our bigger 18-hole courses, and they are a completely separate fee outside of your amenity fee. There are a couple ways that you can go about accessing these courses. If you just want to test one out, see if you like it, there are resident member rates, and it will depend on what course you're playing and what time of day you start. Current rates are posted through the rest of 2025, and they have the resident member fees ranging between $22 and $68 per round. Different member categories have different fees. For example, there is non-resident, resident guest, enhancement guest, or Middleton member, or resident member, and then enhancement member. So prices will vary depending on the course that you play and the time of day that you start. So the enhancement member is basically a priority pass for you to play on those championship courses. You do get first access to tee times, reduced rates, and then tournament eligibility if that's important to you. There is pricing for single or double. But if you pay for double, then both people have to live in that same residence. There's also monthly, 6-month, or annual memberships. The single fee is currently $141 per month, and it goes up to $840 for the year. You will still have to pay the golf rate when you book the course that you want to play, but it's discounted. So here's an example. And again, this is for July 2025. Fees can and will change. If I had the enhanced golf membership and I wanted to play before 12 p.m. at the Shallow Creek Championship Golf Course, the rate would be $46.50. If I wanted to play that exact same course at the exact same time without the enhanced membership option, it would be $56 for a resident member and $61 for somebody living in Middleton. All of their rates and fees can be found on the Village's golf website, and I am honestly not a golfer. So if you have major golf questions, reach out to them directly or find somebody else because it is just not my forte. I'm just here to give you some numbers. Additional memberships that you can buy are championship tennis and country club pools. All of the prices are on the Village's website that you can check out. And I would say they probably get updated maybe like once or twice a year. So do not rely on the examples that I gave you here because they can and will change. All right, if your head is spinning and you are all numbered out, I'm right there with you. So I think now is an appropriate time for us to just go ahead and call it quits. Everything that I went over here is just to use as a jumping off point to give you some of, my real life examples as to what you can expect to pay. Everybody's monthly fees, monthly bills, and needs are going to be completely different. I get that for Middleton versus the Villages. But it is important for you to go through your current bills and maybe do like a little comparison chart to see if anything is going to change when living here. Now, guys, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe and like button so we can talk about more things about living here in the Villages, Florida, or Middleton by the Villages. I try to be as transparent as possible. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments, and I will do my absolute best to getting around to everyone that I can. Thanks for sticking around to talk some numbers. I know it's not the most fun, but these are important things. So I will see you around town. Be kind to one another. See ya.